But the one thing I always tell all of them that I think it's really important is that you don't need to have all the answers. And I think that's most young leaders who are coming up through the ranks, they feel that they do need to know the answers. And generally, in all of our workplaces, there's a lot of people who know the answers. And so you can build strong relationships with people, even when you're the boss, by asking people and getting insight and asking all of those very, very important questions that will help you formulate the answer. And the drawing on the strength and the knowledge of those around you is just an incredibly smart thing, as opposed to feeling that you need to know the answer without having all of that insight. And so that's the one thing I caution, and I think it's actually a bit of a gift, is saying first of all, we don't expect you to know all the answers, but don't hold yourself accountable to it either. So really just make sure that you're utilizing everyone around you to find that right answer. And it'll be the better answer anyway. Yeah, the way I think about those things now is that you make decisions with your brain. Like you figure out what the financial end of things are, and then you act with your heart. And so when you actually have to make those decisions and you have to deal with the people in whatever way that might be, that you act with your heart and you explain it in a manner that people can understand. And it served me well. It's never, ever, ever easy. And there's lots of times where you lose sleep at night because of the situations that you're faced. But on the other hand, it's a responsibility that you carry. And so you just have to do your best to make sure that you act with heart when you're actually dealing with the people, and making sure that everybody's as taken care of as you possibly can make. There is one common question most women ask me, it's this one. And it's, how do you deal with people when they cut you off in a meeting? And then they end up saying the exact same thing you said, and they get, everyone agrees with them, and you're going, wait a minute, I just said that. And it is such a common thing that happens to women. I actually watch for it in meetings now and make a habit of saying, oh, I think that's what so-and-so just said. But the thing I always tell people when this happens to them is two things. One, and you have to do it in such a way that is not obnoxious. But when that happens to you, you have to figure out a way that's right in the conversation to say, okay, well, I just said that, but I would like to add on to it. And don't make it a defensive thing, but bring it back to the fact and take credit for what you said, because women kind of get frustrated and we actually kind of sit back and go, how did that just happen again? And I very much believe that we should actually be owning it. It happens, it's going to happen. I don't know that when this unconscious bias of men bowling us over in meetings is going to ever stop. But at the end of it all, we have to figure out how to fix it. And so to me, it's about more knowing it's going to happen, accepting that it's going to happen, and then figure out how you take the table back. And so when I say take the table back, take the conversation back and start controlling it again. And the easiest way to do that is to say, well, that's exactly kind of what I just said. And I think we should go on to do, as opposed to being frustrated by it. And so it's actually a hard thing to do, to harness yourself and move that ball forward in a positive way. But it is something that frustrates women to death. And it's something to this very day that happens regularly in boardrooms. But yes, it has had a negative impact right now. But I do believe as our business comes back and as things come back to normal, that we will have more and more of those women come back into the workplace. And I can honestly say, and I just did performance reviews for all of my team. And it was so interesting because it's like, wow, I have not seen these people really in a year. Like I've talked to them on Zoom and all that sort of thing. And has that impacted their career, in my opinion of them, and those sort of things, which is like, you can transport that to all the women who are out of the workplace right now. And I have to say that everybody has been so busy, so focused on trying to survive and trying to get through this crisis, that I don't think it's going to have hurt women that much. I'm very hopeful that's the case, at least. And I do believe that they'll come back, and I do believe that those jobs will come back. And I also think that the silver lining in this whole COVID thing, particularly for women with children or different points in their career when they want to be maybe at home with them when they're young or whatever it might be, this whole idea that if you're at home and you were somehow maybe not working before when you were working from home, I think there's a huge shift in people's thinking that now that flexibility is actually a positive thing. And so whether or not it's like a big tech company is going to have everybody at home or not, I'm not sure. But I just think that I'm not concerned at all about the people I have who are working from home. I think that productivity has actually gone up. And if anything, I'm worried maybe they're working too much, because you're not working from home anymore. You're home. You're trying to be at home from work. So it's a whole different game. And I think that productivity is, or people's belief system in productivity at home has done a major shift. And I think that'll be great for women, because it'll give them flexibility, and there won't be the somehow negative connotation that went with that. And it just gives them much more flexibility, and people are not going to be worried that they're not working.